Hey guys, welcome to week 4 of the NFL. I have 4 games this week that I'm going to go through. I did a recap video earlier in the week talking about week 3. I went 3-1 that week, and I'm 7-5 on the season now, so trying to keep it rolling into another winning week. I like this week a lot. There's quite a few games that I'm interested in. I was going back and forth between 3 and 4 games, but I'm going to go with 4 games this week. Before I get into the video, guys, like, subscribe, comment on the video. So let's go with the first 2 games. I'm getting involved in the toughest division in football, the Nfc West. So 2 Nfc West games here, big games. First one, Seattle and San Francisco. San Francisco is -3. I'm going with Seattle in this game. Should be a good game. Both teams, coming off some tough losses. San Francisco, last second loss to Green Bay last week. Seattle's lost 2 in a row. Lost to Minnesota last week, lost to Tennessee, blew that lead the week before. So big rebound spot for both teams. Listen, in this game, when I look at these 2 teams, Seattle doesn't have a good defense by any means. San Francisco does have a better defense. But I don't think they're this vaunted defense that they had a couple years ago when they went to the Super Bowl. I think they are vulnerable. And then on the offensive side, Seattle is a much better team offensively. They have the better quarterback. They have the best receiver. And San Francisco, when they're healthy, they're a complete team. But this has been the story for them the last couple of years. They are very banged up. They have no running backs. They have like 1 healthy receiver. These guys are probably shopping around the San Francisco area to find any local player who can play this week for this team. So San Francisco just banged up. And because of that, because I don't think their defense is as sharp as they were a couple years ago, I expect Russell Wilson in this offense to put up points. I also look at the over in this game. I think a lot of points will be put up on both sides. This should be a great back-and-forth game. It might be whichever team has the ball last wins. But I trust Russell Wilson in this offense more than I trust Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco's offense. And if I'm going to get 3 points, I'm going to take Seattle plus the 3. There's probably a lot of 2.5s out there now. In that situation, you might take Seattle in a teaser and tease them up over 7. But at plus 3, I like the Seahawks because I'm getting points, yes, but of course at that small of a spread, I just think Seattle's going to win this football game. I'll have the 3 points in my back pocket, but I like the Seahawks to win this game. And Russell Wilson, he's lost 2 in a row. How many times has he lost 3 games in a row in his career? I don't have that stat, but I would say 0 because I remember recently, maybe in the last year or 2, he's never lost consecutive football games, and he's lost 2 in a row now. I think they get it back on track. Seattle, this is a very difficult division. I think Seattle would probably finish 3rd, if not last, in this division when the year is all said and done because I don't think they're a great football team. But with Russell Wilson, he's never had a losing season in his career. You can always chalk Seattle up to at least 9 or 10 wins. I think he's going to get this one. I think they're just a little bit better than San Francisco right now, but I like the Seahawks plus 3 in this game. Next game, NFC West again, Arizona and my Los Angeles Rams. I think these are the 2 best teams in the division. Both 3-0, both look really good in their wins. Arizona, a little shaky against Jacksonville last week, but overall they've had a really nice season so far. The Rams are rolling. Rams are 4.5-point favorites. It's in LA for the 2nd time this year. I am going against my Rams. I think they were a 4.5-point favorite against Indy a couple weeks ago. I took the Colts and they covered. Rams won, so it was a win-win there. I like Arizona plus 4.5. I think these teams are pretty close. I know the Rams look really, really good. But I think this game should be more around a 3-point favorite. The Rams don't have a huge home field advantage. I think it should be more -3, so I'm getting a little bit of line value at 4.5. Offensively, the Rams look amazing, but Arizona can move the ball and score with the best of them. Kyler Murray, Hopkins, Kirk, these guys are playing lights out. And defensively, the Rams have a good defense still. They're the defense I would trust the most on a goal line stand. They're so locked down when their backs are up against the wall. But they're not the number 1 ranked defense like they had last year. Not yet, anyway. They could get there by the end of the year. Certainly a top 5 D, but I think Arizona's defense is comparable to them. Chandler Jones is a beast. I think he's a top 5 defender in the league. So I think, again, both these teams can put up points. But Arizona, they can move the ball. I think they can even backdoor cover this game. Heck, I think Arizona, I would not be surprised if they won this game. And these teams will play each other later in the season in Arizona. I don't know. I have this weird feeling that the Rams are going to win in Arizona later in the year, but that Arizona can win tomorrow in LA. I think the road team might, get both these wins. But yeah, I mean, I like the Cardinals plus 4.5, and I would put some money on the money line for Arizona. This is going to be a great football game, and I mean, these two teams are going to be going back and forth all season in the standings, I think. These are the two best teams in the NFC West. But give me Arizona plus 4.5. Next game, Pittsburgh Green Bay. Green Bay's a 7.5 point favorite. I like Pittsburgh plus 7.5. One, they have great line value in this game. This line and some spots is 6.5 for Green Bay. At over a touchdown, I got to take Pittsburgh. Even at 7, I would take Pittsburgh. At 7.5, I have to take Pittsburgh. Green Bay is a very public team. They look great in the last 2 weeks. Everyone's forgotten about their Week 1 loss. Pittsburgh has been a mess after their Week 1 win in Buffalo. They've lost the last 2 games at home. They haven't looked good. But, I know it's the end of an era for Tomlin and Roethlisberger. But I think Pittsburgh, they still have a lot of raw talent at the wide receiver position. I don't know if Claypool's going to play this week. But Juju's going to play, and they're talented at the skill position, albeit young, and I hope T.J. Watt plays. But this team still has a lot of raw talent. Roethlisberger hopefully can play a good game, but he hasn't looked good in the last couple of weeks. But I think the Steelers at 7.5, it's always tough going against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau, where Green Bay is so clutch. They're playing so good with Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams, but I think at 7.5, the back door is open. I don't think Green Bay has an amazing defense by any means. Pittsburgh just doesn't turn over the ball, and Ben can secure that football and get the ball out quick to his receivers. I think Pittsburgh at plus 7.5. I honestly think this line should be maybe 5.5. I think it's a little too high. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 7.5. Last game, Baltimore at Denver. Baltimore is a 1-point favorite. Might see some spots where Denver's a 1-point favorite, so it's essentially a pick 'em. I got the Broncos at plus 1, and I like Denver plus 1. Denver's 3-0. Everyone's going to talk all week about their crappy schedule. With Jacksonville losing Thursday, their combined record of their opponents are now 0-10. They played Jacksonville, the Giants, and the Jets. They played nobody. We were against Denver last week against the Jets at plus 11. And yes, Denver's beaten nobody, but they've also taken care of business and blown out these teams. They've only given up, I think, 23 or 26 points in 3 games. Teddy Bridgewater's looked good, and say what you want about Teddy, but he's 23-9 against the spread in his last 32 starts. Everywhere he goes, he has success. He did it in Minnesota before his injury, New Orleans, Carolina. He's steady. He gets you wins. And this is someone that Denver needs. For the longest time, the one position that the Broncos haven't had is quarterback. It's been John Elway and Peyton Manning and nothing else. And this Broncos defense is really good, but in years past, they get tired, they get fatigued, worn out, whatever you want to call it, because they're just on the field too much, and the offense can't do anything. Bridgewater and this offense is staying on the field. They're really talented at the receiver position. And if, give their defense an opportunity, give their defense some hope, some confidence that they don't have to do everything, it's a good football team. It's hard to say where they're going to be at the end of the year, but Denver Broncos right now, especially at home, they're a good football team. And I know their strength of schedule is, maybe a question mark right now for them, but I like the Broncos. And for me, Baltimore is a banged-up team. They're 2-1. They could be 0-3. They got, very fortunate that Tucker hit that field goal last week against Detroit. They got the big win against Kansas City on that 4th-and-1 run by Lamar. Baltimore, they've won a couple games this year, but they look vulnerable. They're injured. They're probably a little bit tired. This is their 3rd road game in 4 weeks. They had the big, tough win against Kansas City. Went to Detroit, now flying cross-country to Denver. I don't know if this is a great scheduling spot for Baltimore. They're a great football team, and they're at the very least a good football team. And that's why I think this line is Baltimore -1, even though Denver's undefeated. Because people are looking at Denver's schedule and the way Baltimore is, coming out with some wins in the last couple of weeks. But I take Denver minus or +1. So those are my 4 games, guys. Seattle +3, Arizona +4.5, Pittsburgh Steelers +7.5, and the Denver Broncos +1. We got all dogs this week. Hopefully it comes through. Like, subscribe, comment on the video, guys, and good luck in week 4.